But you know what?
Like,
but if you look at the prototype she's installing, and you look at the circuit boards, I saw it in IMAX, so I saw details people didn't see. It was 70 feet big, a little screw, and next to the screw was the number 237, like the room 237. Oh. So was this movie trying to tell us what was going on in the air during The Shining? Yes.
All right.
Okay.
That's all.
Speaking of Room 237, we watched a really bad documentary.
We talked about it earlier.
Okay.
But not on the podcast.
No, we didn't.
Oh, man, that was a bad documentary.
Me and Rocco have both seen that documentary and love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's great.
It's full of shit.
It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. But it was hilarious. It was great.
But it's...
And Rocco pointed out the one that made both of us go, what the fuck are we doing?
It's fascinating.
Well, look right here in the clouds. You can see Stanley Kubrick's face.
It was either theories. Like
My favorite was, watch, you can see the boner. You can see his fake penis.
Oh yeah, I was loving it. Oh, it was great.
It's down here.
It just
Now,
it's
okay,
going out like
is
that.
Room 237, is that the same documentary that was on YouTube?
No. That one's only about the moon.
Okay, then I haven't seen Room 237.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
Yeah.
The moon,
These guys aren't even talking about the same one.
The moon
I'm
one?
talking...
I caught a lot of shit earlier today.
moon
No,
one?
you didn't. I'm just saying I
Absolutely.
liked it, but the documentary I saw was all about...
No, Brian told me about the moon one and recommended it.
That one's all about how Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing
Yeah.
and alluded to it in The Shining.
And I love it because, at least in this one, I told Eric, when it comes to these kinds of documentaries, there's never a middle ground. There's never a, like, here's my idea, here's reason, and here's, like, substantial reason, like, actual fact that I have. That movie, the one about the moon, actually does that a little bit, but then it always takes it a little step too far where you're like, all right, slow down.
Yeah.
But at least it gives you
But I
examples.
enjoy it. Even when he goes a little too far, it's like, all right.
I love conspiracy theories because at least with that kind, it makes you go, that's a really interesting way to think about this. That was really cool.
Here's what he was saying. This was the most fascinating part about the moon documentary. Mm-hmm. And this is what I was referencing earlier, so maybe you didn't get it. He says that if you look at the pattern of the carpet in The Shining, which you know is like a hexagon with like an open space leading out, he shows you an overhead of a launch pad from a space shuttle launch pad, and it's the same pattern. It's a hexagon with the road leading up. Then he points to the fact where Danny, right before he walks into room 237, is playing with these trucks on that landing pad design and is wearing a shirt of the Apollo rocket. And he says he parks the truck, looks at the room, stands up, and walks straight to the room, to room 237. And they say that, I don't know if this is true, but this is what they say. The moon is at exactly 237,000 miles from Earth.
That is true.
So that is like symbolism for the rocket launching and going to the room. And this is my favorite part. They go, and then he enters room 237, where nothing is what it seems to be. And then they just talk about everything in room 237. The moon seems to be one thing, but upon closer inspection, perhaps by an older, more experienced group, it is very clearly something else.
The documentary that we watched, and somebody in the chat said, the documentary that we watched, and somebody in the chat said, hey, the second half is really good. We didn't watch the second half because we watched it and just went, what the fuck are we doing here?
This stuff that he's talking about is like towards the end of it.
I'll go to the end of it and I'll watch that.
But I wouldn't.
But what's your documentary about that? If it's not about that, what the fuck is it about?
It's about 10 other theories.
And the theories are so Derek, it is hilarious.
They don't even string them together.
No, they don't at all.
No,
It's an idea. You watch it and then you go, you had this idea, and then you just went, I'm going to tell people about my idea. Well, did you have any proof? Well, no.
Well, if they had proof, it wouldn't be a theory.
No,
it would be conspiracy fact.
So there's one theory where they go, okay, I know for a fact that Kubrick was reading books about advertising and subliminal effects of hiding things. So he absolutely did hide things in the movies. For example, this scene where Jack is talking and then it cuts away and it cuts back, the chair behind him is gone.
Oh my God.
They clearly were trying to instill a sense of fear in you.
That one fucking killed me.
But then...
Which is true, because Kubrick would not remove the chair unless it was on purpose.
In fact, Kubrick is not human and would have no continuity director to make sure that would happen.
So I'm laughing about. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. Then Kubrick knew that in advertising they would put subtle things, sexual things, to get you more enticed to the product. So notice this scene when he gets up
Frame
to
by
shake
frame.
his hand. It's coming up, and you're not going to believe when it happens. It's right here when he picks up the drip. An erect phallus.
It's so fucking absurd.
It's stuff like that.
erect
But the
phallus.
funniest part is how that part ends up. And if you need any further proof, all you have to watch is the beginning of the movie when the director Stanley Kubrick puts a photo of himself in the sky for one frame. There it is. Derek, it's just a shot of the clouds in the sky and there's nothing there. And he just goes, there it is.
There's nothing circled, nothing's pointed out,
all right.
nothing's freeze-framed.
Hey, in the YouTube documentary, I'm not going to spoil it. It ends on something they point out, which is absolutely there that you never fucking saw, and it will.
It's so good.
You will never think about The Shining.
you gotta watch the YouTube
again.
And Rocco, Brian told me the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about that one. At least it gets a little wacky. Maybe you don't agree with everything, but they gave you reason and fact and examples that they clearly highlight. This one, it was, hey, let's give a bunch of stoners and drunkards.
Oh, totally.
10 minutes to talk about The Shining.
But I think that they knew what they were doing to an extent because there are parts where a guy's explaining a theory and then can you hear that?
Oh,
Wait.
his
Hey,
baby.
shut up!
His
Is that my
baby.
son?
Oh, I'm sorry. As you can hear, my baby's crying in the background. Just a second. They pause the documentary, and then it starts. Sorry,
So
just
they
took
know
care
what
of
they're
that.
doing. Yeah, so I got a kick out of it.
it was just so badly done that we're sitting there. The only thing that it did was prove continuity errors.
It's really.
Look at the design of this room. This window would
you know
never
the name of
have,
the YouTube
have
documentary?
existed.
I don't. It's down. It's gone.
Yeah, they took it down.
Yeah, so
What?
I'm sure you can find it on Vimeo.
Well, that means it was fucking true.
Yeah.
If they took it down.
There you
I like that documentary. That was a fun documentary.
Dude, that documentary must have been fucking true. Why'd
Yeah.
they take it down? It was so thought-provoking.
they didn't take down any of my Shining fan vids.
Why'd they take it down?
So
Why'd they take it
In
down?
this shot, you can see that the can has the Indian's face fully shown, and then in this shot, where he's not being truthful, you see 4 Indians' faces, and they're not fully shown. Why else would Stanley Kubrick do that?
you know what's
Yeah,
fun?
why else?
This- you know
looks
what
like
I-
a centaur.
You know that was fucking ridiculous.
Hey, it's a ski poster.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I stopped watching halfway
Oh,
through.
I was loving it.
Because it was a ski poster, and she went, and it looks like a minotaur.
Yeah, that's right,
And
minotaur.
obviously the labyrinth, where the minotaur lives. There was a ski poster in the movie.
yeah.
All right. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say just real quick though. There have been people. I was disappointed because there have been people. The only 2 theories I've ever been like, this is neat about that movie. The moon shit was really fun. And there are people who have described the Indian connection so much better than it was in that movie.
I agree.
Because I've read shit that it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's cool.
What's the
And
Indian connection?
that the movie is about the slaughtering of the Indians and like
What?
how would you describe?
Colorado?
Yeah, because throughout the entire movie, there's almost like in the beginning they talk about how they built it on Indian burial grounds, and then they talked about all the best people are here, and anytime something kind of goes wrong, there's like Indian shit in the background. Like when they're in the kitchen, all the food labels are kind of parodies of Indian art and stuff like that. It just surfaces at different. People have described it in a way that's like. Again, like not necessarily believe it, but like
Somehow
that's interesting.
plausible, yeah.
Yeah, the movie it's.
I mean, the colors that they use are like kind of those traditional Indian, like the rug. Those are like those traditional Indian kind of colors, burgundy, bronze, like all those things. The Indian chief across from the elevator, like there's a portrait of it, and then the 2 like the big tapestries in the main hall were jack types. Those are like the big ones that they really bring up. But they
Whatever.
explained it so bad.
Stupid movie anyway, though.
Yeah.
I want to make a movie that like is me confessing to a secret.
I
that
kept
the movie is not remotely about.
I just kept watching this 237 documentary and going, I would hate if anybody was so into my work that they found
I'm the
every
opposite.
every
I
little-
love that.
No, but
Yeah.
no, but it's not little things that are like, ooh, what could this theory be? It's continuity error. It looks like continuity errors that he
Yeah,
made. See, and then people are going, but this obviously means this, and I know that if we were to watch it, we just go, no, we just fucked up.
No, I would
would
love
kill
that
me.
because that means you have hit a certain level in people's minds where they can't. They can't see a mistake that you made and just have it be a mistake because you are too good in their mind.
Yeah.
And
That's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, I see.
It's interesting. It's interesting one way or another.
Hey, and someone said, not to get nerdy here, but not that we weren't before, but Nikki Charisma said, "Is this how Anno feels about Eva?"
Probably.
Referring to Evangelion, and I absolutely believe that. That guy has sat there in interviews and said, there's a lot to dig into that show, but there's also a lot of religious images that are just there to look cool.
Yeah.
And he has said it. He has sat there and gone, people have gone, when the angels explode, why do the explosions look like crosses? Sense of mystery. I don't know. And then people are like, no. It's gotta mean that these are the lost disciples, and it's like no.
And that's what somebody in the chat, Pavi132 said. It's flattering. They think it's a genius working on a whole other level. Right, but if you're that genius and they're pointing out all your continuity errors, I feel like you would just go, "I'm sorry, I fucked up. This is wrong. You're wrong. I'm sorry."
Or would you feel like, I got away from murder?
Or maybe you feel like they got it.
Hey, maybe I didn't look at it.
Maybe you would not give a fuck and then just be spending the money you made from the movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So who knows?
There it is.
All right, our name on Skype is Mega64 Podcast. We're gonna take some calls.